Hi there, YouTube. This is Dominic, the CX guy, Dominic, the Zendesk guy. Welcome to another video. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Dominic. I've been a Zendesk consultant for the past 8.5 years. I've been a partner for just as long, just that I've been doing my own thing for the past 3 years almost. And I have gone through a rebranding process, which is now Roca. Roca Business Processes. This is just to adapt and adjust to the growth trajectory that we're experiencing right now. So it's been a while since I've posted a video, so now I'm coming back with this session where I'd like to look at a demo app that has been created by our friends over at Sparkly. And I will invite them to share their demo with us to see exactly what the app does. I'm also actually very excited to see it myself because I haven't yet seen it. I haven't yet experienced like the demo, so I have played around with it, but I have not necessarily seen what it can do fully. And the purpose of today's session is to see this demo. So the app is it's called MacroSuite, and it's going to help improve management of macros. So if you're a company that has a lot of macros and you need help managing those, this is actually the greatest app that you can actually use. So I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to share. I'm going to invite Eric to join us. And he will take over, and he will say a few words about himself. He will say a few words about Sparkly, the company that he represents. They're based in the Netherlands, and they're going to walk us through this wonderful app that they've built for macro management. So without further ado, hi, Eric. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I can hear you, but I cannot hear. Can hear you, but I cannot see you. Okay,
sorry,
cool.
there I am. Hi, good afternoon.
Okay, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing very well, actually. Having a very busy day so far, but I'm excited to see what you have to present for us. So just a quick rundown. I've done a quick intro for the video, so it's all good. What I want to do now is to pass over the mic to you, so you can tell us a little bit about yourself, about Sparkly, and then let's dive into the MacroSuite demo.
Very good, very good. Thank you for your time. Yeah, my name is Eric Vos. I'm CEO of Sparkly. Sparkly is based in the Netherlands. We're a Zendesk app development party, and that's the only thing we do. We only build Zendesk apps for the Zendesk marketplace. We have around 20 apps, and we're building every quarter a new app or upgrading the existing apps for more functionality. And we're trying to make Zendesk customers happy. That's our goal. So
you're doing
excited.
a very good job, especially with the app that I keep seeing everyone want to use is the GDPR app, especially in Europe, where it's such a big thing, where we need to keep an eye out on GDPR and how we do things. So that's actually everyone talks about that app of yours. So yeah, you're making a lot of people very happy with being able to shred information and keep GDPR in check.
Yeah, it needs to be compliant. You need to get rid of tickets. That's a GDPR rule. Or that's a rule here in Europe. If you no longer need a ticket, you should delete the ticket after a specific period of time. So after 3 years, we always say delete the old tickets, and let's do that automatically for you. So every day it checks if there are tickets more older than 3 years, and it throws it in the soft delete, so that you don't have to look at it. It's just happening. Yeah, thank you for that. But we have more for you.
Sure. Okay, so let's see. So I'm excited to see this MacroSuite app, which I'd like for us to explore in its capabilities and see exactly what it can do. I'm sure that I have a bunch of customers that have hundreds of macros and are having a hard time managing them, and it's actually a very good opportunity to help them make their job easier.
Yeah, that's our goal. So let's go to that screen. Am I allowed to share? Okay. First of all, where can you find the app? It's also very important. Zendesk is a very good marketplace. If you're in the Zendesk marketplace, so zendesk.com/marketplace, just search for Sparkly or search for Macro, and you will find our macros or all the other apps as well. Just double click on it. If you double click on it, you get some instructions over here. with all the features what I'm going to show you in a moment, including the pricing, and of course possibilities to put your review in there, but just then select the plan and do a trial install. And if you want a little bit more, just contact us and we'll be there for you. So what is the macro suite? Let me go to my demo environment. So what we created is apps. Our apps are running inside the browser of the agent or inside the browser of the admin. So there's no server. We don't have access to any of your data. The data is yours. If we need to help you, we do a web meeting together with you, and then we look at your screen and explain more. So very good. Also from a security point of view, we don't have access, and we don't want access to your data. Data belongs to you, to the end customer of Zendesk. So here's the application. The macro suite is an icon here on the left side, and it has the look and feel you're familiar with in Zendesk. So we try to keep to the UI of Zendesk. Everywhere you saw UI of Zendesk and you see the UI of Sparkly, it should feel the same. That's where we're aiming all the time. And here's also the mentioned GDPR app is there as well. So it's also another icon on the left side. Of course, here's some instructions how to do it, but more important here are the macros. What we've done, we've taken away the macros from the admin center, bring them back to the agent view. We think they should be here, and when they should be here, it should be macros, all the macros you have. So in my case, I've got 57 macros over here, 120 inactive, and I want to work on it. I want to search it. And as Dominique already told, there are sometimes people with more than 100 macros, or even customers with more than 1,000 macros, and that's why we have this filtering over here. So the filtering to find macros very easily. For instance, all your e-commerce macros are to be found here. It's a combination. You can do it over here, but you can also type here, and then it finds only there.
When you have more than congratulations. Sorry to interrupt. So congratulations on the look and feel. It looks exactly like I'm looking in Zendesk. It's almost like I can't even tell it apart. So it looks very good. One question about the category. Does this mean when you add the macro, you add that to double colon, and it creates automatically the category, and this app recognizes it?
Yeah, that's what it does.
Nice. Okay,
and
cool.
we also view it in a different way. So here's e-commerce, double colon, voucher code, double colon, multi-codes. So it's exactly the same. If you go back in the macro view of Zendesk, you see the other way around with the double columns. We split it apart. So for us, you can find it more easily. Very important here. Here is the save filter. So give it a name. So here's Dominique CX partner demo. So in this way you can find it. You can find it back. That's very easy for us. So it's not only having filters in there, but also saving the filters and the quick filters to find it back. So here's the quick filter to find it back, and then Dominique is there, and so we're here with the demo and to save it and to work on it. So with 10 macros, with 100 macros, this wouldn't be. You won't need it. That's also, we have a lower plan, but if you have more than 100 macros, more than 1,000 macros, you will be very happy having this feature. What's very important to know is you need Sunshine custom objects for this.
Okay.
Not Sunshine conversation, that's something else. No, custom objects. The database you get for when you have support enterprise or you have any suite plan, you have custom objects in there. Enable the custom objects in the enterprise at the backend system. You get a database, and because you have a database, we can store information over there. That's what we're
so
doing.
you save these lists, for example, these filters. You save them in custom objects. Okay, very cool.
Correct. Yeah,
nice.
That's what we're doing. So you don't have to create the database yourself. That's what we're doing with the app. We're just using your database in there.
Okay, nice.
There are the macros. So let's go to one of the examples. So here's a shipping example in the e-commerce world. Of course, here are the dots you're familiar with. Last month, let's change it any way you want it. You even can change. You have the ID in there. Never look at the ID, but it's there as well. Let's remove it again. So let's go into the macro, because the macro editor, we've enhanced it a little bit. So it looks familiar. It has the same fields over here. You have your ticket fields there as well. So to add, for instance, the first name in there, but we also have a second. So here we can find the first name and all the other Zendesk fields, but here are the custom fields. Many times customers create custom fields. So for instance, a custom field is something with a customer or a customer number. There it is. That's a specific field, custom field the agent has, the admin has created, and we want it in the macro. That's why we added it here as an icon. You can add it. You click on it. Let me click on it, and it says it's there.
Oh yeah, I used to need an Excel to do these by hand and copy and paste and go into recognize the ID of the ticket and then go in here and paste that. So yeah, that was a very time consuming and a little bit tiring, to be honest. Yeah. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, we've listened to the larger customers that told us they're exactly the same thing. So that's what we created. So that's the first thing we added to the macro editor. The second thing is over here. Here's an icon where we create custom macro editor fields, macro assistant field, where we're still trying to find the best name. And maybe some of your viewers can tell me what the name is, but here it is, for instance, here is the shipping date. If I double click on the shipping date, I got it on the right view, a date picker. One of the fields we have multiple fields there, and then you have a database. How does it look? It looks this way. There's a preview, and it looks in this way. So you select the date, you select the date for tomorrow, and it will show you Wednesday the 7th. Okay, that's the way I want to create it. The same thing, for instance, we have for a warehouse. A warehouse could be in London, could be in Amsterdam, could be in Berlin. Just have a drop-down list. How does it look? In this way, you can select it in this way. And you can even go one step further. You can have here just a short name, and here on the right side have the full address of London that will be presented to the end user, just to make the time of the agent less time, and he doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, especially saving on human error, right? Because when you would do these formatting, for example, by hand, you would have to be careful not to have a space between. You'd have to be careful to how you saved it in order for it to work. And of course, testing is another thing which took a lot of time. So, okay, yeah, excellent. And especially if you can click them like this and you can have a preview. Wow, that's super helpful.
So here's one also, do you want in this case, order return information? Yes or no, I don't want to. Just a toggle in there to make life easy. Okay, let's run this macro in a test ticket. Let's start a test ticket, and let's just start with shipping. There it is. So here's the macro. You can go in and select and go to the next field and go into the next field and go into the next field, anything you want. And then the information is there. So here's the macro. Ready, run. We want to save it. We want to reduce the average handling time by 30%. That's our goal, 30% with these macros.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's really good.
80% of the tickets should have a macro. And if they have a macro, they should be used all over the place.
I agree, because most requests that come into a support system are repetitive anyway. Around 80% of them are indeed repetitive, and they have been asked before. And in order to speed things up, obviously you have to have some templates, some macros created so you can answer those questions fast, so you can focus on what's really important. Which 20% of the requests indeed are unique and need to be attended to. Those are actually the ones that would cause, for example, maybe negative customer satisfaction if you don't attend to them with the special care.
Correct. That's what we are. So this is the first step of the macro suite. We have more functionality, but this is the first part, the old macro assist, as we call it now. Now it's part of the macro suite, but we have more to come. So one of the things we have is settings. If the first macro is sending the same macro to the same customer in the same time frame, you have just one warning. Click one warning. Don't do it. Maybe it's not the case. This is a part we'll not that important. So personal macros. People can have personal macros. We say they shouldn't. Yeah, but they're sometimes very good. Yeah, but if they're very good, bring them to the other agents as well. So here is one of the views says, okay, and a window shows you, oh, you're using a personal macro. Please contact your admin or put any text you want there, just because we're not want to go into personal macros. We want to clone the macros to the other agents. That's over here. Then we have ticket assessment and macro usage. Sounds a little bit okay. What's that? We'll show you it in a moment. But we have filtering for that as well. Filtering. There are a lot of tickets. There are a lot of macros. If you're have more than 1,000 macros, you definitely want filtering. If you're searching for your 10,000 tickets and you want to see where the macro is not used, here's the filtering you need. That's why we have a lot of settings in there.
Okay.
Another part is
looking forward to understanding what ticket assessment is exactly later in the demo.
I will try to amaze you. So
Okay.
here's access as well. Access is okay. You saw the new macro editor. Here you can have it role restrict or group restrict who should have access to that macro. You can do that, probably give it to everybody, but maybe for your testing environment, you only want to give it to some groups. And that's why we have role restriction. So you can start this new view with the admins or with the whatever team second level or something like that. The macro management, creating these macros needs sometimes a little bit of, okay, how should we do it? Not everybody should do it. So that's why we also have the macro management and the role restriction over there. Put in any admin or any role you want. And the same is for other functions. We're going to show you exporting and importing macros. Exporting is not that important. Importing is very important because then suddenly there's new macros. Maybe you shouldn't give that right to everybody. That's why we have an access level on any role you want to think about. Okay, let's go to the collaboration part, the second part of the application. So basically here are personal macros. Of course, I don't have personal macros. We don't want personal macros, but maybe the customer has personal macros. Normally, the admin cannot see personal macros of their agent. The agent can see his personal macros or his inactive macros, but the admin, the team leader, can't see the personal macros. Here's an inactive personal macro. So the admin can see it now. The good thing, he knows that it's there. He knows if it's used, but more important, there it is. There's the clone function. So he can clone the good macro, because probably if an agent is using that macro every day, should be given to everybody. Maybe improve it with the editor. We just showed you. That's a good thing. But let's clone it, and straight from here, let's give it to all the agents. There's the default. Let's give it to all the agents. Let's change it. It's a demo again for Dominic, and let's add actions to it. And let's in the comments section. Let's have the new editor and have anything you want in there. We just showed you. But just personal macros, maybe they're good, but they shouldn't be personal macros anymore. So that's level one. Good news is we have good macros. We don't have personal macros anymore. Let's see. Oh, there are sometimes tickets we don't have macros.
Okay.
80%, we think 80%, especially in the B2C world, 80% should have a macro applied to it. Okay, but let's assess the tickets which don't have a macro applied in the last comment by the agent. So that's what we're searching over here. In the demo environment, these 3 emails had a reply by the agent without the macro applied. Once again, any filters you want, any even groups, forms, groups, status, whatever you want. We have more options over here. And if I double click on it, you straight see the last conversation on the right side. This is the last conversation the agent had with the customer without applying a macro.
Okay, here. So this would be a really long list if we would have a lot of tickets in our system, right? And we could filter out to see exactly what types of tickets, for example, have not been replied to with a macro, right?
Yep. And here you see this is the submitter, the person who's done it, or maybe you want it on the requester, maybe any fields with all the maybe priority, maybe time. Think about it. Hey, search filters. This is last 14 days. Maybe you wanted the last day. You want the brand. You want the group. We've got it for you. But the good thing is, once you're here, again, create a macro from this. So this could be a very good macro. I don't think it is, but let's assume that it's a very good macro. Okay, let's create a macro from this last comment. and the comment is already there.
Mm.
And then here, with dear Eric, we don't put Eric there, but we put there the first name as an example. And maybe is the problem solved? Maybe this is a drop-down list. It's not a problem, but it's another field. It can be it can be a problem, but it can also be a question. And then is it solved? And then maybe it's not, the answer shouldn't be solved, but the question is the question handled in the right way. You know what I'm typing. How does it look? Okay, how does it look? It looks in. Okay, if it clicks on this one, it gets that text to the customer.
So does that mean that you directly from this interface, you can add ticket fields into Zendesk?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go in, create a ticket field in the admin center, they come back here, refresh your screen, add that ticket field again in your, within the settings that you change in your macros. Sorry to have not made the disclaimer earlier. Macros in Zendesk are templated replies that you can use to modify ticket properties. So wow, you can change ticket, you can add ticket fields directly in the interface of the macro suite. That's actually amazing.
That's what we want to go. So as less clicks as possible. One step further, of course, also this creating macros collaboration. I mean, not all the agents, maybe the team leaders, maybe a macro manager you have on board, they should do it. Maybe an external consultant like Dominic should do it. Give him or her the right. Okay.
Sure.
Next step.
Okay.
Where we have good macros. We have no personal macros anymore. All tickets have macros. Let's see how good the macros are used. What is a good macro? So
wow.
Dominic, what's a good macro? That's a question to you. What's a good macro?
Well, obviously I'm seeing it here, but a good macro is a macro that is being used very often. A macro that is actually useful. So a template that is being used over and over. In order to solve requests and in order to save agent time, right? So because we don't realize these things, at least not if you don't, if you're so caught up in the work, you don't realize how much time you can save in a year's time, right? So today, maybe you save, let's say 15 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, but if you add that in a week, you maybe add up to an hour. And if you add that to, for example, in a year's time, maybe it's 200 hours, which how much is that? That's almost 8 days of work, which you save, for example. And in large teams like these, if you have, let's say, as I've worked with teams of upwards of 300, 500 agents. So if you save an hour a day for each agent, imagine that you save 200 hours per year per agents times 300. That's a lot of hours, and that's a lot of money that a company can save. Because obviously, if you have more efficient tools that help you save agent time, then maybe you can hire less people to help you with support, and maybe you can have that budget to hire people to help you with your sales or your marketing to further improve your product and sell it and sell more of your product and grow your business. So this is how I see it.
Yeah, that's also a little bit how we look at it. We go even one step further. We give an improvement score. So we say, okay, these macros are used. Can they be better?
Okay.
So in my demo environment, in this case, I only have applied 2 macros just for, so here are 2 macros which I've applied in the last 7 days. And the one is green and the other one is yellow. So basically the green one is so a macro, we say, okay, if it's used a lot, that's one character of one parameter. If it's changed a lot, the number of characters changed, and if the percentage of that macro is changed. So that combination, we give them a score between 0 and 10. So 0 is you don't need anything, 5 you can improve it, 10 is you should improve it today, because a lot of people are using it and you don't have a good macro, to be honest, because a lot of agents changing the text. Okay, then let's go. Let's go into one of them. So here's an example of a macro, billing address update. That's just one macro, and it's applied by this agent, and it's only changed 1 character. It's only 1% of the total macro, or is 8 characters, which is 7% of that. Okay, one step deeper, I can see the conversation. So it says, hi there, the update. I know that the one comment is changed over here. And I know here, I've created it. It's only the text here on the top, hi there is changed in hi one. That's an example. And the green says, basically we say, okay, if this is the case, let's go back, don't change it. It's a good macro. You can get the macro. So here is the macro. Okay, this is a normal macro. Okay, it's good. You don't need to think. It is really good. So then this one should be wrong or could be improved. Let's call it that way. Can be improved. So the improvement score is 5. It's yellow. Let's get into it. And here it's used that many times, and the characters are changed, and there's even the percentage that it's changed.
So percentage that is changed. Sorry to interrupt. So percentage that is changed means how much it has been altered, like the text or the properties, or what does percentage mean? The text.
We're looking at text. So the text is 100 characters or 1,000 characters as example, and then 130 characters are changed. As an example. So here, and even the same thing, if I click on it, I see the macro, see the last comment over there, and it's okay. It looks like normal. Hi, customer, thank you for, it looks like a good macro, but we change it a lot. And basically, why is that? Okay, let's go into the macro. Let's see it. Yeah, this is a macro. A lot of admins probably see it a lot. Capitals, bold. Don't forget to change it. Basically, that's what it says. And that's what we have. Okay, there we have it. So the order number should be the order number, which probably is a custom field. So remove it, add the custom field. Here's the custom field. So it's there. You don't have to type it. You don't have to look for it. It's there now. Here's when the order will be delivered. Okay, that's a drop-down list. It is a choice. Okay, let's create a drop-down list for that. Let's create a drop-down list. This is the label, and this is selection 1. And this is selection 2, and you will probably get it what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're adding a custom field.
And how does it look? It looks this way. When if you select this one, then you can get it. Look at it. Maybe it said Netherlands 3 days. That's what the selection is. But you probably have maybe text in here. You maybe have URL in here. You even can have tags around here. Add some kind of tag, and based on the tag, you have in Explore extra information. You've chosen this section. Okay, add the tag, and based on the tag, you can have a trigger or whatever you created. Nice trigger automation created.
So quick question here. So in this description where I have, for example, Netherlands 3 days, and below it I have a description. What does that mean exactly? Like, how does that translate to what I'm looking at? If I choose it, I get a little bit more information on what I chose, or?
No. Let's do it correctly. So basically, I think you do it in this way. And here you would say, this is the text that the end user gets. So Germany, 3 days delivery. Probably this is it. But you want, the agent, he just needs.
Sorry?
So he doesn't have to read the text all around that.
Okay.
Oh, my microphone is lacking. Are you still hearing me?
Yeah, I can still hear you, but it's okay. I can still hear you. It's all good.
Okay, sorry for that.
No worries.
Trying to find a better macro.
Okay, so now we can potentially, when we save this, it's going to display more information, right? With this, let's see, insert.
Yeah, insert. And I'm gonna save the macro now. Let's do the save of the macro. Let's run, refresh, and let's run the macro. Oh, let's get this text away. And let's run the new macro. Here's the new macro, and here you can say Netherlands or Germany. Let's see what's happening.
Okay, I see. So agent, what agent sees, and then what customer will see after I choose. Okay, understood.
Yep. That's the big difference over here. Of course, he still can change it, but he shouldn't change it anymore. We're measuring it once again. We're measuring what he's changing. So you've improved it. Everything is improved. And then, of course, after a couple of days, you want to test it again. So we do a reset as well. So the reset is over here on the settings level. Let's reset the history.
Ah, okay.
Once we've done the reset of the history, we can do a test if the macro is really good. So that's what we're thinking.
Okay, understood.
Okay. Last important part. Managing 1,000 macros, 100 macros, whatever, can be done here, can also be done externally. There's always a request for import and export. Maybe you start a project as a consultant, you start a project and you have already got 50 macros. Okay, those 50 macros for the B2C environment, let's import it and work on it, make it too. But it could also be that you have macros and you want to do another language. You want to translate all the text. So we want to export it, do that, manage that on an Excel level. That's our suggestion. And then import it again. And then you have the translation for the Swedish language or for the German language. You only had English, now we have German. So how to do that? First of all, we want to do the export. What do you want to export? All categories, once again, maybe whole. If I click here on nothing, then it exports, in my case, 183 macros. But you can also say, okay, let's do only the e-commerce voucher code. Let's export that one. Default Excel. But you can also have CSV or JSON. If I download it will create a file, an Excel file. But if you want to have it only a content transfer, you don't need the triggers, you don't need all the other sections, you only want the content, then you can do the content only. And the content only, give it to a translator, give it to your person or marketing responsible for the tone of voice, because the tone of voice needs to be changed. The tone of voice is not good. Your marketing department, your social media department tells you, change the tone of voice, do that in Excel. Don't do this in Zendesk. Keep Zendesk to the Zendesk agent, to the Zendesk admins. So here's the export. If I click on it, it will create a file, an Excel file over here. Okay, then you're changing it. Hopefully you understand changing will happen. Let's import it. And on the import, we have two things. We can create and we can update. Create is you start a new project, new installation, that's there. Or you do a translation. If you do a full translation, it's also a create. So the create basically is okay, drag and drop the file and do the import. In this demo we just did, we didn't do a create it, we did an update. We just changed some part of it. How to do that? Okay, let's drag and drop. You can see this. Let's drag and drop that over here. Before we do that, do we do the match on an ID or do we do it on a name level? Because if we export it to a sandbox environment, it gets a new ID.
Correct.
So then we want to match it on the name of the macro.
Okay, that's smart. That's smart because of course you have to map these out and match them if you would do it by ID. So yeah, okay, doing it by the name sounds really good. Okay,
that's one. And of course, then do we want to merge it? If we have only exported content, then of course we want to merge it. But if you have exported everything, you probably want to override it. There's the option as well. Okay.
Correct.
Do now an ID. I'm going to merge it. Let's get back to the. I'm going to drag and drop it over here. And now does a mapping as well. All the fields, they're going to be mapped. Of course, the mapping in this example is pretty good. But if you're having a Salesforce project and you're going to Zendesk, or you had a Freshworks and you go to Zendesk, you'll probably have macros. You're going to need to do the mapping over here. In our case, mapping is fine. All the fields that are, you don't have to do a thing. But
wow, this is so useful. This is amazingly useful to do this mapping. This wins so much time. Wow, really nice.
Yeah, and now let's go to the next level, because we also had conversation with customers that had 100 macros changed. Like they did import. and then something went wrong because one of the 100 macros was wrong. Basically, the question was, which one? And the answer is, I don't know. So all the macros you imported, deleted, look for the macro which is wrong, and do the import again. We've taken one step, and they already saw it. Here's the preview. In the preview, you can go look all the macros. Okay, here are the 3 macros. They're very good. Okay, you can do the import. If they're not good, go back and do the import again and change over there. So the preview, especially for a large number of macros, is there for you. If we do the import, he does the import over here. We don't have any external servers. Everything happens by the admin or by the agent who's does that. And it can do up to 100 macros per minute.
It uses the API, right? Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I think you were going to say.
No, that I mean, you should know the API limits.
Yeah. So for the enterprise, which I think this applies to best, probably it's 750 actions per minute. But obviously, you need the API for other processes that you're running through the system. So this is using 100 per minute.
Yeah, that's
very fair and very nice, because it won't block everything else, right? If you use everything, then you just clog the system, and it's not maybe doing some other important processes within the system. Okay.
Once again, the only thing you have to do now is don't close the screen. Because we're importing it over here. So if you're importing 1,000 macros, it takes 10 minutes. Don't close the screen, because then it gets stuck halfway. Okay. The only restriction, and of course, it's also the restriction because we don't use a server. We cannot run the process or trigger something else that runs here in the browser of the admin or the agent.
Okay, makes sense.
You get a screen.
Nice. Okay, so you get a screen, and it does tell you, hey, just to please take a chill pill and allow the system to work. Okay, to do its job.
And then you're back at the macros. The macros are imported, and you can start testing it all the way. The last part, of course, everything has a price. We have developers developing it for us as well. It took some time, I have to say, but it was the total package we want to deliver. And here it is. And we have basically 4 levels where we have only 25 macros. You don't need to import and export. Everything can be done in the macro editor. You saw that's why we have the team version for them. But if you're really above 100 macros, if you're really above 1,000 macros, you should look at the professional and the enterprise version to have the quick filters to filter the views, the import and the export functionality. And on the enterprise version, you can really give you online support just with the customer, where we sat down and created the macros together with him. Let's see if the number of macros can go down by 50%. That's our goal. The number of macros should go down by 50%. 50.
Okay. Excellent. So okay.
That's of course a little bit of marketing below here. You can see other applications here as well. You can try and test as well.
Yeah, well, good. Of course.
Managing your suspended inbox here, Shredder. Having a proactive bullet ticket, sending out 15,000 messages with your outages there. Send a message to all of them straight from Zendesk. Those kind of apps we have as well. So 15 apps. Please test and try and. Go for Dominique. Dominique is one of our people who's testing it, and he's probably. We see that a lot. That are Zendesk consultants around there. They're a trusted partner, and they will tell you if an app is good or not good. And so we'd love to partners like them.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so this will go straight to YouTube. So I'd like to thank you for this wonderful session and demo. It's very, very insightful, and I wish this app existed a few years ago when I used to go in the let's say this mechanic role. I would just go in and fix everything by hand, and especially with for example having. For what struck me and what I really liked was the fact that, for example, you can preview what you have, for example, drop downs, and you can see exactly what is a placeholder and what is a drop down. So what is dynamically going to change. And so, for example, you can add directly custom fields and that used to be such a pain because I used to do it in a spreadsheet and be careful with the naming so I don't miss spaces, because if you miss like one small space and you add an extra space, then it doesn't work and you just don't know what's wrong. And then of course, you, after reading a little bit about it, it's like some people in a forum somewhere on the 59th comment like, hey, be careful with spacing. Oh god, I just wasted 2 hours just trying to make something work, which now is just like super easy and very accessible.
Yeah, and you can even go one step further. I didn't show you, but if then else, or even the regex could be part of there. So if the customer name is filled, say customer name, but if there's no first name there, then say hi customer. Or
wow.
if the regex tells you something, there's a regex and you found the customer number already somewhere in his ticket, you can create the URL that you send to the customer. So, so he says, here's my customer, but here's my order number, and then you can create the URL already in the macro. So yeah, less clicks once again. So think about regex, think about if then else, and that tree could be a part of macro as well.
So you're creating a sort of a logic within a logic. So you're taking this one step further, the Zendesk, let's say, customer experience, to add within a business rule, which is a macro or template, you add some conditions, which, yeah, this wasn't done before. You would have to create a macro. It would execute its properties, maybe change a custom field, add a tag, or of course, send a message. And then you'd have a trigger which would pick up, let's say, the changes to the ticket and would apply some of the logic that you're saying that you can add directly with this. And I do have one more thing which I loved, for example, that import feature. Yeah, that's amazing, because there's always the need to send translations to the, depends, this is in big teams that I've noticed that, yeah, I need approval from the Italy department, and they have to check the macros, but they don't have access to Zendesk. We need confirmation from the German team, but they also don't have access to Zendesk. So we need to export it. We need to have a shared spreadsheet, and then, okay, let's import these with the, yeah, how do we do it? So yeah,
and even some kind of versioning if there, right? So if you export every day to your Google Drive, you have some kind of version. You can go 3 days back to your macros, because the macro 3 days gap was okay, and so there's even a versioning in there. And the other thing we are facing now is that people are working for Italian and Spanish, so doing macro, they're doing both languages, but they don't speak that good of Spanish. But in the macro editor, when you have drop down, this says confirm, and you have the English words, that of course the Italian knows the English words and they can select it, and he sends out a Spanish message.
Okay, yeah,
You can think about all those kind of things as well.
Yeah, and this again saves company money, because you don't have to hire, let's say, additional people for the market that you're just maybe starting out in, right? So you're just maybe testing, let's say, your product into a new territory, and you don't necessarily want to hire 5 people in the area before you test it, right? You want to first see if it works, offer support for the number of requests that come from that area, and once you get the confirmation that it's actually a good fit, and you can, pump money into that market, then you can start actually employing people. So it's it also, I see the benefit of using it this way. Yeah, really cool work, Eric. Thank you for sharing this with me.
Yeah, well, of course, I'm the sales guy. I'm not the developer. But I'll pass on the compliments to the developer guys.
Oh, okay, yeah, please do. Yeah, really nice job, and especially look and feel. You probably have a designer as well, maybe, or one of your developers is talented with they have an eye for design, so that it looks exactly like I would look in Zendesk. It doesn't feel like I'm in a different environment. So yeah, congratulations to that as well.
Thank you for that, and thank you for your time on this call, because I like it.
Thank you. You too.
Good code.
Okay, I'll see you soon, and we talk on Slack because we're already connected. So yeah, I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.